Hi there folks, well, welcome back to my channel, and for this video I'm actually going to be continuing a series that I started back during lockdown, which I never thought I'd really have to kind of go back to, but with the way things have just been going for the past month or something, with the weather being a bit crappy and being stuck in a day job, I thought I would return to the Myths and Legends series that I started. And especially after some of the events of yesterday, I thought it'd be kind of relevant. Especially as I'd realised that I'd actually filmed a TikTok at a location that I'm going to be talking about 2 years ago. I'd totally forgotten about it. And then the storm happened yesterday. And the TikTok that I'd filmed is just blown up on TikTok. But again, I will stop being cryptic in just a second. Again, if you enjoy my channel, if you enjoy my videos, if you can click on the subscribe button, click on that notification bell, leave some likes, leave some comments, it's always really appreciated. And if you'd like to support the channel further, you can also click on the join button and become a channel member, which will help get me out and film more content and show you more of Scotland. And yeah, and I'll also link in my TikTok account as well if you're want to have a nosy over there. So that'll be in the description bar below and in the pinned comment. But what I'm going to be talking about is something of a Glasgow landmark. And it's something that I always remember my dad pointing out to me even when I was a kid. I would be like heading into the south side of Glasgow to go see my grandparents, and on a fair few occasions this landmark would get pointed out and we would always get told the story, because again, my dad, like me, obsessed with history, especially Scottish history. So the landmark that I'm talking about is called the Darnley Sycamore or the Darnley Tree, and up until yesterday, it was standing intact, undamaged, on Nitshill Road, right on the main junction, with the road from Barhead coming down and joining Nitshill Roads, and with the roads taking over to Netherholt House, going in the opposite direction. And I always remember my dad pointing this tree out, because it stands out by itself right on the corner with a fence around it. I will post the TikTok that I filmed. I did have to mute the video and put in more music, because the music I had in the TikTok probably is copyrighted. I don't really want to get a copyright strike. And I will put that video in a minute, but I will explain the significance of the tree before I do so. So why the Darnley Sycamore or the Darnley Tree is so important is, one, its age. It's said to be about 400 years old. It might be older, but the age that is usually given is about 400 years old. And it's said to have been planted by Henry Stuart, Lord Darnley. So Lord Darnley was the cousin and husband of Mary Queen of Scots. So he was her second husband, because she had been married previously to the Dauphin of France, but the Dauphin had died, I think it's a year after he'd taken the throne. Or he died quite young anyway, leaving Mary Stuart a widow. So she'd returned to Scotland, and she'd then met and fell in love with Henry Stuart, Lord Darnley. And usually he is referred to as just Darnley. I'm not sure if he took his title from... He must have taken his title from the area that is called Darnley. I could be mistaken. If anybody knows, let me know in the comment section below. But he's, again, they met, maybe fell in love with him. Not sure if he really loved her, or were just in love with the fact that she could give him power. And they ended up marrying, and they ended up having a child. And that child ended up being James VI of Scotland, who then became James I of England. But before before they could really got into like seriousness with the relationship, before James came along, Darnley was said to have built or planted a sycamore, which became a Darnley Sycamore. And the story I always remember my dad telling me is that Mary Queen of Scots actually nursed Darnley back to health underneath this tree. And hence why it's got a connection to Mary Queen of Scots. And unfortunately yesterday, because again, on Friday the 24th of January, so as filming this, that had been yesterday, Scotland was battered by Storm Eowyn. And again, there's been like damage like across the country, especially at least across the central belt. And one of the victims of the storm was the Darnley Tree. And fortunately, it's a sycamore, which is important, which I will explain in a moment. It is still rooted and it still has branches, but a number of its larger branches were essentially torn off the tree during the storm, and the tree has been badly damaged. But, and again, it was kind of heartbreaking seeing the images of the tree after the storm, especially because of the history of the tree and the cultural and significance of the tree, especially for the area of Darnley and the people who live there, because it is very much part of their history and part of their area, that this tree is very much kind of a significant part of like that area's landscape. But as I was saying, it is a sycamore, and sycamores have this knack that they can grow back. It has been seen with what's left of the sycamore from Sycamore's Gap down on Hadrian's Wall, that even though that tree was cut down, from what I have heard, it started to regrow and bud. So essentially it is trying to recover. And it is hoped that with the Darnley Sycamore, because it is at least still rooted and it still has branches, that it will survive and it will regrow and essentially heal itself. So it is, again, a tree that I always have like strong memories of. I always associate it with my dad telling me about the story. But again, I will show the video that I filmed about, must be about 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago. So I will link that into the video just now. And of course, as you can see from that short video, like obviously that was filmed like close to 2.5 years ago now, but it was a stunning, stunning tree. And again, as I was saying, as it's a sycamore and it's still rooted, and especially as it still has like some of its limbs, it still has some of its branches, it will survive this damage. Hopefully, I just keep my fingers crossed that it will continue as this local landmark, this local focal point. So again, just keep my fingers crossed for it as well. So as a kind of just a wee brief discussion of the Darnley Sycamore or the Darnley Tree, and hopefully you'll find it interesting, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.